Here's how I remade the beat to Sorry About That by Yeat from scratch, originally produced by Trgc and Sharkboy. The first thing I remade were these chords. I made this sound in Serum, and here's how it sounds with no effects. So for both our oscillators, we are set to the basic shapes waveform, and we are just one position over from the square wave wavetable with this slightly modified square. Our oscillator A is set to 0 for our octave, and then we are pitching our second oscillator up an octave with the volume turned down a slight bit, so it's not as loud as this lower one. Essentially, the thought behind this was to just add some nice extra high frequencies, but not have it be overpowering the normal octave of the sound. We also have 8 voices of unison on both of our oscillators, with the detune turned down to about 0.03%, so they are still being detuned, but not a super heavy amount. Now for effects, the first thing I added was some soft clipping, with our drive around 44%, with the mix turned down a bit so it just adds a little bit of body, but doesn't make it sound super distorted. Next, we just add a chorus on 7%. This adds a little bit of width. Then we just add a reverb on 8% just to give it a little bit of atmosphere but not be too overpowering. Now for our mixer effects, I'm just using an OTT on 30% for some nice multiband compression, then an EQ to cut out some problematic frequencies. Also get rid of extra high end and low end that doesn't need to be there. Next thing we add is this lead. Again, I made this in Serum. Here's how it sounds with no effects. Again, a pretty simple sound. We just have 2 sine waves for both our oscillators. Our second one is pitched up an octave with the volume turned all the way down, and that is because we are using it to FM our first sine wave. We have our FM set to around 36%, so it is providing some extra high frequency content, but it is not making our sound too harsh. I'll show you how that sounds as we turn it up and down. We are also set to mono legato and have our portamento around 20 milliseconds, so there is a nice bit of glide going on. Then we are just adding a little bit of soft clipping distortion and boosting our highs with an EQ and cutting out extra low end that doesn't need to be there. Finally, we finish that off with a reverb. Then for our mixer effects, we are just doing a little bit of EQing again and applying this, what's it called? And using gross beat to apply a kind of tape stop effect on our lead. I have the mix set to around 90%, so it is not fully tape stopping. There is a little bit of the original sound going on. And to recreate this kind of tape stop effect, I just have a slight curve going down 2 pegs. I'm also automating this tape stop so it is only playing during the first half of the lead and not the second half. Now for our final melodic element, we have this pluck. Again, I made this in Serum. Here's how it sounds with no effects. Essentially what this sound is a detuned triangle pluck. We are using our basic shapes waveform and we have a triangle wave selected with 3 voices of unison. For our volume envelope, we just have a pluck shape. And we're also using our LFO2 to add some nice fine pitch modulation, making our sound wobble back and forth. For effects, we are using a multiband compressor, just to kind of pull everything forward and clean everything up. Then we just have a basic delay, a reverb, and then an EQ cutting out extra low end and boosting our high frequencies. For our mixer effects, we just have another reverb. And that's it for our melodic elements. Now we have our 808s. I'm using the 808 from the original song. You can find it online with a little bit of Googling. Then finally we have our drums. We are using this band's hat with a nice triplet pattern, clap from the original, which I'm pretty sure is just a Luger clap. Then we just have this rim that's pitched up, and this open hat that plays very quietly. Then we are just sending all that to a drum bus in the mixer and adding some compression and some saturation. And yeah, that is everything. If you want access to the Serum presets or the Serum presets rendered out as one-shots or the project file or the samples from this remake or any of my other remakes, which there's like 150 of at this point, you can get access to all that on my Patreon at a very reasonable price. I will throw a link up on screen right now. Great place to get new sounds. I think there's over 400 Serum presets on there right now and it's all available for like $4. And it really does help me continue to do these videos. So yeah, hope this was helpful and informative and I will see you next time. Peace.